So today I was feeling a little bit bored. I got those two new GBA games, but kind of in the mood for some hacking or something. I don't know. So if you remember a couple videos ago, or not a couple videos ago, quite a few videos ago, got some Japanese Saturn games. And if I wanted to, I could. I think I can rip these onto the computer with no problem, or I can just download ISOs of them, and there's just a quick program that will patch that ISO, and then I can burn it and burn the patched ISO to a disk. And with my mod chip, or if you don't have a mod chip, you can just do the swap trick, which is a little difficult. You can boot those just fine on your Saturn. I could certainly do that, but I kind of want to play. I don't know. There's something about putting in the real disc. It's almost emulation to me when you're playing a copy of it, or a burnt copy of a game. It's not right. I don't know. So I was gonna do, basically it's a region switch for the Saturn, and if you've seen my Genesis switch video, it's very similar to that, but instead of just two different jumpers, we're going to actually be switching between 4 of them. So on this one, you're going to need a double pull, double throw switch, which is one of the ones that has 6 contact points on it, like that. And the reason is, you've got 8 jumpers on the Saturn that you have to deal with, and I guess I'll just keep drawing here. When it's in, we'll just label these. There's 6, 7, and I think this is 10 and 11. I think those numbers are the same on all of them, all models of Saturn, but I'm not positive. And also these jumpers can be, kind of in different formations. Sometimes they're next to each other, like this. You have kind of a block of them, and then you'll be dealing with, these and these or something like that. But you'll have to kind of figure that out yourself. But anyway, when it's in the US mode, 7. First off, so I'm pretty bad at this. On the Genesis, the common pins are on the left, which is the kind of to the chip pins, and on the right are the one of them's ground, I believe, and one of them's 5 volts, and you're just basically sending 5 volts or ground to a certain pin on some chip or something. I believe that's how it works. I know that's how it works on here. But anyway, on the Saturn, the common pins are on the right side, at least here. Some on this formation, sometimes they have the common pins on the outside. But anyway, so this will be 5 volts, and this will be 0 volt, which is ground, and then 5 and 0. And in the US mode, the 5 volt for pin 10 and the ground for pin 7 are what are being connected. So you're sending 5 volts to whatever this chip is, or pin on a chip is, and you're sending ground to that. And then for Japanese, it's basically the same, but opposite. So on Japanese, you've got 6, 7, 10, and 11, and you're sending 5 volts to these, and you're sending ground to these. So this is 0, 5, 0, and 5. Remember, these are common pins over here, and these are common. They're completely connected. So what I'll have to probably do, as far as I know, I haven't opened it up yet, but I'll do that very soon, is probably cut this trace and cut this trace, and then basically it's going to be the exact same thing as the Genesis, but kind of double. Because remember, on the Genesis, you only had to deal with about that much jumper, 2 different jumpers, and then you would just switch between the 2. But on this one, obviously, you have to switch between these 2 jumpers and these 2 jumpers, and remember that they're kind of opposite. On this one you're sending 5 volts, and that one you're sending ground. On this one you're sending 5 volts, and that one you're sending ground. So, really simple. The way we're going to basically wire this up, I haven't really thought about this yet, so I'm going to figure it out right now. you're going to have, let me get another sheet here. So you're going to have your switch, and it's going to have its 6 points because that is a double pull, double throw switch. Not a single pull, single throw, which we could use on the Genesis. This one has to be a double pull, double throw. If we were sending 5 volts, if we were sending the same 5 volts or ground to both of these sections, if we were sending the same thing, then we could probably use a single pull, but since we're switching different stuff, we're going to want to use the double pull. So the common points, let's lay this out again. Get 6, 7, 10, and 11. The common points, which are these on my diagram, are going to go to each of the center kind of common points on the switch, and you're going to want to go one to each other. And then you also want to remember which one's going to which, because I can't send these to the left side over here, and I can't send these to the right side, because then you'll be sending the wrong thing to the wrong pin. So on, let's say, we're going to kind of label this. This is going to be the US side, and this is going to be the Japanese side. So for the US, we're going to want to send a ground to 6 and 7, and we're going to want to send 5 volts to 10 and 11. Okay, like 3 seconds later I realized I just had to think about it for a second. Okay, so ground to 6 and 7. Ground is the bottom on this part. So we're going to connect ground on the 6 and 7 side to the US side. And on this we want to send 5 volts, which is the top one. I guess I could label these again. And 5 and 0. We're going to send the top one, which is 5 volts, so we want to send that to the US as well. Remember? 5 volts ground. So we're going to send the 5 volt part to the US part. So when we flip the switch to this side, it's going to connect the right things on this side. Then for the Japanese, we're going to do the exact opposite. So 6 and 7 is going to be sending 5 volts to its side of the Japanese side, and 10 and 11 is going to send the ground to that side. So when we go to Japanese, it will connect the 5 volt at the right time and the ground at the right time. Now that kind of looks complicated, but I think it'll help that I drew it out, all in steps in front of you. Because when I first saw these diagrams, I was like, what the hell is that? I'm going to have to stare at this for a while. But it's a really simple mod. Technically twice as hard as the Genesis one. Maybe a little harder just because you have to kind of remember all this stuff, but really it's not that bad. Let's see. If you're going to be doing a PAL mod, I'm not sure about that. Once again, I'm not going to go through that mod just because I don't really need to do it. I'm sorry if you want to do that as well. But it's going to follow probably something similar to this. You might even use, I think it does the exact same thing, but you're going to be using a couple different jumpers. Let me check here. Yeah, on the PAL you're going to be using jumpers 7, 9, 10, and 12. But I'm not sure what the combinations are. I'm going to link up again at GamesX or GameSX. My pen's running out. .com. They have a really good tutorial. It was the first one that I read, and that was kind of how I figured it out. They've even got some little animations that'll show you it out. But I'll link directly to that in the description up here. So it'll make it a little bit easier for you if this doesn't help you. But let's go downstairs and start this off. Trust me, it'll be fun.